Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well today. Today I'm coming at you guys with the 2020 fragrance/cologne, whatever you want to call it, buying guide. I did an ultimate fragrance buying guide a while back. That video is very long. So this one is going to be a really condensed version of that video, updated for 2020. So this one, I'm not going to have as much detail as that video. If you want just a ton of information, you can check that one out. But for now, let's jump into this and go over where are the best places for you to buy fragrances. I'm going to show you screen caps of the websites as I go through this as well, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But like I said just a minute ago, not as much detail here because there's a lot to cover and I don't want it to run too long. So the first type of store that we're going to talk about are the most popular stores, in my opinion, the ones that get asked the most questions about, the ones that people really want more info on, discounters. So these are stores that sell authentic products, but at discounted prices, hence the name, discounters. In case you're wondering how these fragrances come to be discounted, they are on the gray market. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with that. You can Google it if you want to. You can just Google gray market fragrances. So the biggest question that people will have, are these authentic? Yes, the fragrances they're selling are authentic. You will find a random person here or there that says, oh, I bought a fragrance from one of these stores and I don't think it's legit. But I have purchased hundreds and hundreds of fragrances from these stores. Other people that I know have as well, with no issues whatsoever. So again, Cliff's Notes, yes, they're authentic. First store I want to talk about, Fragrancenet. This is one of the biggest fragrance discounters. I'll have a link in the description to each one of these stores as well. But Fragrancenet is one of the biggest US-based discounters out there. They are in the top 2. They are also the same website as fragrance.com. So if you go to fragrance.com or fragrancenet.com, same place, same store. The issues that you may run into with Fragrancenet or fragrance.com is that sometimes the shipping is not the fastest on earth. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes they'll get it out right away. Other times they take a few days before they ship the fragrance out, or fragrances, depending on how many you bought. One thing I really like to do with Fragrancenet is check their new arrivals. They update pretty frequently, sometimes every day. They'll get in a batch of new fragrances and you can find some real hidden gems in there in the new arrival section before they sell out. Because actually a lot of people will do that, and if there's something really nice, it gets scooped up. Fragrancenet though, definitely check them out, great prices. They do have a 35% off coupon, so don't use the 25% off that you'll see on the website sometimes. It's actually 10% less of a discount than you can typically get. I'll leave in the description the current 35% off coupon, but do understand that they change that periodically. So if you're watching this in the future, it's probably changed. Okay, next up, Fragrancex. Fragrancex is the other really major fragrance discounter based in the United States. So typically when I talk about discounters on the channel, I'll talk about Fragrancenet and Fragrancex. That's because they are the 2 biggest. Fragrancex doesn't have a 35% off coupon. They have a 15% off coupon. It stays the same all the time. I'm not sure why they don't just mark the fragrances at, you know, the price that they're actually going to sell them at and leave it there, but it's how they want to roll. So 15% off all the time, and you can find that coupon code all over their website, just FX15. Same as Fragrancenet, all the fragrances are authentic, they're all legit. Fragrancex does have a little faster shipping than Fragrancenet, so if that's important to you, keep that in mind. Both of these stores, Fragrancex, Fragrancenet, have fantastic selections of designer fragrances. They get in new designers about as fast as anybody else out there. Maybe another website I'll talk about in a bit gets them faster, but they're pretty good for getting in new designers and older ones as well. Both have good selections of niche fragrances, though they seem to trend a little more toward the really big niche brands. So if it's a very rare or unknown niche brand or indie brand, probably not going to find it there. Okay, next up, let's talk about Max Aroma. I work with Max Aroma on a video once per month where I sell some packages through them, little sample kits, and then whatever you guys buy, I turn into a gift card and give back to you each month, so you've probably seen me talk about them in the past if you followed the channel. Max Aroma is smaller than Fragrancenet and Fragrancex. They do though carry some interesting niche fragrances that Fragrancenet and Fragrancex do not carry. So if you're looking for a particular fragrance, I would check Max Aroma out. And if you're a big fan of the 8 milliliter travel lipstick atomizers, check them out for that as well. Next up is a store from Canada, fragrancebuy.ca. This is the store I was talking about that will sometimes get in new designer fragrances first. So that's very important to you. You can check them out, and they have a new arrival tab on the web page that will take you to all their new fragrances, and sometimes you can find new releases there. Fragrance Buy, being based in Canada, does have a shipping charge. Unless you buy 5 fragrances or more, then shipping is free. Also, if you use their loyalty program and you build up enough sprays, which are their currency for their loyalty program, you can get a free shipping coupon. But otherwise, you're going to be footing the bill for the shipping on Fragrance Buy. Their shipping though is pretty quick. Even though they're in Canada, they get it to you fast. Fragrance Buy is a store that's been trying to get a lot bigger, so they're trying to really push good sales, good prices, all of that, get more customers. Then there is also a store called Labelle Perfumes. That one I've used a few times. To be frank though, I don't really like the website. I don't like how it's laid out. They constantly have items out of stock, so you'll see a whole bunch of fragrances listed on their pages, and then like 70% of them are sold out. So not really a great layout on the website, not really a great shopping experience on that one. On rare occasion, you can find something there for a good price that you can't find at other places, so keep that in mind, but that's one of the last places that I look. Let's go ahead and keep everything moving. So I'll end the discounter section right there for this video. There are other discounter websites out there, a lot of them actually, and new ones popping up all the time, but those are the biggest ones. Those are the ones that I check first. Those are the ones I use the most. Now let's talk about niche and indie fragrances. So websites to pick up niche scents or indie scents. Oftentimes these fragrances you can't find at discounters, so if you want them, you have to go to a niche specific store. First one I want to talk about is Twisted Lily, and I actually have a coupon code GENTS10. You can use that at Twisted Lily for any purchase, any fragrance. It'll take 10% off your order. That is actually a really good thing because niche fragrances, as I just mentioned, oftentimes you have to buy at full retail. So even though it's only 10% off, it's 10% that you don't have to pay. Twisted Lily actually went out of business and then was purchased by Euro Perfumes. So now they're kind of building that website back up. You're seeing a lot of new things added to the website, and over time, I suspect that it will turn into one of the biggest niche and indie fragrance stores on the internet. Right now though, it's still kind of in a growth stage. So they're still adding a lot of things on there. The website layout though is really nice, and I expect that it will continue to get better. So make sure to check that one out and keep it in mind. The next one I want to talk about is probably the biggest niche store online in the US, Lucky Scent. Now they very rarely will run a sale, very rarely. So if there's a fragrance that you want and it's on Twisted Lily and also Lucky Scent, probably go with Twisted Lily because these are both authentic fragrance stores selling them at full retail, and at least at Twisted Lily, you can get 10% off. Lucky Scent and Twisted Lily both have it where you can get samples. So if there's a really expensive fragrance and you just want to check it out first before you splurge on a bottle, each one of them will decant out part of the fragrance and ship it to you. So a lot of people will do that. They'll go on there and load up a whole bunch of samples, make a purchase, check them out and see if any of the fragrances work for them. So another thing to keep in mind. Next store I want to talk about is Indiesense.com. The website does not look that professional compared to the last couple websites that I talked about here, but it's really good for independent fragrances. Hence the name Indiesense. And like the last couple websites we talked about, they also have it where you can purchase samples, and Indiesense samples are better in my opinion because they're spray samples. They're not the little dab samples. I don't like those a whole lot. So this is a store to keep in mind if you're looking strictly for independent fragrances. And then the last one I'll talk about here is Oswald's New York, and they also will do samples. All 4 of these will. Oswald's is a really well-known fragrance store up in New York, and it's a place that I do check on occasion if I'm looking for a specific niche fragrance that for whatever reason I can't find at the other stores that I already mentioned. But typically that is the order in which I'll check them. Twisted Lily, Lucky Scent, Indiesense, Oswald's, depending on what I'm looking for. Before I move on, I'll mention eBay and Amazon really quickly. They both sell fragrances, of course. Well, people on them do. And I stay away from Amazon unless it's just something that for whatever reason I can't find anywhere. Then maybe I would buy it on Amazon, but for the most part I stay away from there. I'm not saying all fragrances from there are fake or anything like that. It's just I personally don't use it. I can find the things I want at other places, typically for less. eBay I do use, mainly for discontinued fragrances. Stuff that you can't find in stores, stuff that you can't find really anywhere unless you're buying from a specialty store on eBay or another collector. That being said, there are fake fragrances out there, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you can potentially get ripped off. So a lot of beginners or people that don't really know what to look for in a fake, I say probably stay away from eBay, just because it can be a headache, and some people will fake themselves out and think, oh, I've bought a fake, even if it's not, and it causes issues. That being said, if you do use eBay and you do purchase a fragrance and you think it's fake, eBay does have you covered, and they have you protected, and you can send it back for a full refund. So there is that. There are lots of stores on eBay that are completely legit. Usually you want to see that they have lots of fragrances for sale at decent prices, not insane prices. If they're selling them for like $5–10, probably fake, but decent prices and lots of feedback. And it should go without saying, stores like Macy's, Sephora, Ulta, Belk, etc., those are all legit and authentic. I don't know why I have to say that, but I have had people ask me before, hey, I ordered something from Macy's. Do you think it could be fake? No, it's real. Okay, last up, let's talk about some stores in Europe that you can order fragrances from. The first two I want to talk about are First in Fragrance and Essenza Nobile. Now, for a while, these were the go-to stores for niche fragrances because you could get them for so much less ordering them from Europe and just having them shipped over here instead of buying them at retail in the US. But it's not quite so good anymore. You have to spend a ton of money to get free shipping nowadays. First in Fragrance, you have to spend over 700 euros. Essenza Nobile, you have to spend over 550 euros. If you don't spend that much, you have to pay for shipping, and it's about 150 euros for shipping for Essenza Nobile. So if you're gonna order from one of those websites, you're gonna be spending a lot. That being said, they can still be a good deal. If you're gonna pick up a whole bunch of things, sometimes those fragrances are considerably cheaper in Europe. So if you order them over there and have them shipped over here, you can save money. Now, a couple stores that sell designer fragrances, News Parfums and Insenza. Both of these sell designer fragrances. Sometimes you can pick up a designer fragrance that has not been released yet in the US from these stores over in Europe, and then they'll ship it to you. So then you can get the fragrance here in the US before it's actually released here. You are gonna have to pay for shipping though, which is a little extra since it's coming from Europe. So when you do it this way, you don't really save a whole lot of money compared to what you would save if you bought it from a discounter, if you just wait for it to come to the US. But if you can't wait, if you have no patience, you could do this. And then I'm gonna mention one last website called Jovoi, which a lot of people will use, that also is based in Europe. It's got a lot of different fragrances there, and some people actually prefer that one over all of the 4 stores that I just mentioned. So those are the 5 fragrance stores that I keep in mind based in Europe. 2 of them for designers, 2 for niche, and then one that's kind of a catch-all. And I know I've been talking about samples and sampling and all of that stuff. If you want to buy decants, in case you're unaware of what that is, it's where somebody takes a bottle of a fragrance and they decant it into a smaller bottle, multiple smaller bottles, and then send them out so people can try them out. If you're looking for decants, I would use Fragrance Decant Boutique. I'll leave a link in the description to them. They're the only decant store I've really used, and they have a whole bunch of different niche and designer fragrances on there, so you can go through, check out what they have, and if you want decants, you can order it there and they'll ship it off to you. That way you can try out the fragrance, see if you like it, and if you do, pick up a bottle down the road. I'm gonna go ahead and do a shameless self-plug here too for my line, Galerie of Parfums at gallerieofparfums.com. fragrancenet.com. We are at the tail end of our pre-launch special, so you can get up to 55% off if you buy all 7 fragrances, and I've got videos for each one of the 7 fragrances on the channel already, so you can check those out if you are interested. Link in the description as well. And I'm biased, but they're really good. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Hopefully this was useful for some of you out there. We shortened things up a lot. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video.